Hello, hello. Two very interesting entrances. Hello, Silent. Or should I say Evil Silent? How you doing? Hello, Glenn. Glad to see you're enjoying the soup, I think. I assume. Just fiddling with something, don't mind me. I thought that was my headphones, the lo-fi music that was playing. I thought my headphones were gonna explode. I'm good. How are you? How are you doing? How have you been? How's your day started? I've been doing a little bit of fiddling around with Clip Studio, uh, and have actually ironed out a few of the things that have been bothering me a little bit. So hopefully this should be a much smoother process. Hey, hey, Sona, farts in the soup. No, the soup, the precious soup. That's where we keep all of our soup. We need that. We need that to not be full of fart. I started cleaning the house and doing chores. Good on you. Good on you. That's nice and productive. I just played Fallout for most of the day, and then I started on the comic and stuff. I will be right back and get some water, but I won't be long. Be just a moment. I'll see you guys in a bit. Pack 2 boxes of clothes for charity. Oh, that's good. Be right back. And I have returned. See, not long at all. Not long at all. Ah, my headphones kind of click sometimes. Now I just want to see how this works out because I also done a bit of fiddling with OBS. Oh yeah, okay, that worked better. That's great. Whole stream crashes. I took a walk yesterday and discovered an empty house in your street, which I totally check. You will totally check out further this week. Trespassing included. Interesting, interesting. Well, let us know how it goes. I learned recently that squatters' rules, at least in Australia, if you squat in a place for 12 years or in South Australia 15 years, then technically you can't be kicked out. And this is actually a law, which is very interesting. Don't quote me on this, though, as well as a point. Do not quote me on this, and do not do as I do, or do not do as I say. Don't take it as advice. That being said, interesting. Now, as you can see, I've done a little bit of work on the comic. Just a little, but not too much. We've got to do soft shadows for this layer, and then we can move on. Oh, and light. You know how it is. Soft shadows. There we go. I'm in no financial position to buy a property, but wimp can dream. Yeah, well, you know, if you last the 12 years squatting, then you get it for free. Apparently. You don't get to keep it, I don't think, but you can't be removed from it. Apparently, I think I'm not. I didn't look too much into it. Evidently, and of course, your grandma knows the family that it belonged to. Ah, fair enough. So then it should be fine. Can be explained away if you get found in the house. Just checking the bitrate. The bitrate seems okay. Not normal, but okay. See how that goes. But yeah, I've done a bit of fiddling with the um, with Clip Studio, and more specifically the fill-in, like the fill tool. And hopefully it should make things so much quicker. We'll see. You know, the background on this is so scrumptious, Foos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I like a high detailed background, what can I say? I'll take a football with you and just say it got in their yard if the neighbors complain. That's a really good idea. That's a good idea, Glenn. Perfect alibi. Perfect defense, right? That's great. I like that a lot. We should actually zoom in. Another thing I need to do more. Zoom in. And I've fiddled with some of the, like, shortcuts and keys and stuff, so it should be easier to run with, which I'm very happy about. You know, if I have to do less work to achieve the same results, that's great. Revolts, yeah, that's perfect. I think so. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna highlight both of them and then do their soft shadows individually, because it just makes sense to me. Their levels of depth should be unique to each other, not like they're connected, because they're not connected. The house might be in horrible condition, but the garden is big and the position is good. The street it is part of only allows 30 kilometers an hour, which is good for letting your cats outside. That is good, yeah, damn. And the road is kind of fucked up, so only mad people would speed there. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna cause more damage to your car and yourself if you speed in areas like that. That's interesting. That's cool. Hey, Zombie Slayer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Get comfy. We're chilling out, just doing some art. Taking it real easy today, which, yeah, should be good. And it'll be the first of my 3-hour streams. 3-hour art streams, because I've just decided to add an extra hour to my streaming times, essentially. So Heavenly Rizzler of the Godly Rizlords, them very fucking selves permission to enter your chat room. You don't need permission to enter my chat room. Permission is always granted. Welcome, welcome. Get comfy in the soup. That is mandatory. You gotta get into the soup and get comfortable. Glenn almost drowned in the soup as we started, I think. 3-hour art stream, wow. Yeah, so I think in my previous stream I was talking about either potentially doing a 3-hour art stream, like, well, adding an extra hour to every one of my streams, or adding an extra stream to my schedule. And I kind of decided on the extra hour just because I thought it would be, you know, as a total, it will mean more stream time. And it'll mean that I stream for longer, and then also more, you'll see more of me as opposed to the extra stream day, which was just 2 more hours. And then also schedule-wise, it's a lot easier to manage. Alas, His Majesty is of the utmost kindest of beings. Long live his reign. Well, it's because I like streaming. I like y'all. What can I say? I like y'all. And I like hanging out here, so I do what I can. If you did use it, did the comics website help you? I haven't used it yet, so the thing about that is, as a comic artist myself, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm still figuring it out, because I'd be more than happy to support artists. And if I go around paying for the comics, then I'm not really supporting them. So that's all I'm thinking. Me? Sona? Yeah. How are you doing, Sona? How you been? How's everybody been? Let's just get that out of the way. Let me know how your day's been. Let me know if you have plans for the day, if your day has just begun. Let's get those formalities out of the way. But that's my only thought about it, zombie. I'm more than happy to pay for them, but then also if there's no way to pay for them, then I would happily use that as well. Also been thinking about opportunities, and I've decided against studying and will probably choose a more crafty job. Ooh, like carpenter or blacksmith. Interesting. Though I know no places that offer apprenticeships for blacksmiths. That's fair. That is more rare these days. That's for sure. I have a friend who's a blacksmith actually here in Australia, and it is a tough job to get into. You almost have to do um, mechanical engineering to a certain point, and then you kind of jump off and do blacksmithing. But really, like really good work if you can get it, and it pays really well because it's an artisan's craft. I really want to choose a job that won't be replaced by a machine or AI in the near future. I mean, that's definitely very fair. Um, Went to bed at 4 a.m., pulled a silent. Nice. I mean, uh, were you being productive, or was it just you were just, you're just awake, you have no choice but to like me. I like you. I choose to like you. It's not that I have no choice but to like you. I choose to like you. Then in some way you're supporting people to not buy your comic, which isn't what you want either. Yeah, exactly. It ends up biting me in the ass as well. If I don't support other artists, then there's no reason to support me when it comes down to it, really, because I don't support other artists either. So I wouldn't be practicing what I preached. And even then, I think because I'm in such a privileged position, I also don't necessarily need the monetary support, but then I shouldn't push that belief to other artists because that's kind of fucked up. So, yeah. Uh, I still need to ear brekkie. You need That's fair. What do you plan on having for brekkie? Out of curiosity. Should read the other messages. I just have to convince my confidence that I can actually learn stuff and I'm not too bad for things. Did I mention my self confidence is almost below zero? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Glenn. Um, as someone in an artistic field, I fully understand where you're coming from as well, and it's very easy to kind of fall into those pitfalls where you just feel like I shouldn't start because I won't be good, or if I'm not good at this, then I shouldn't try and stuff like that. Um, and like saying, oh, it's learning. Learning is the best way to kind of overcome those feelings and stuff like that. Or you're gonna be bad, when you start out. But it's all about personal, you know, how people feel. It's always the thing, right? Jokes on you, Sona. I go to bed at 7 now. Whoa, this guy is living hardcore. Probably melon. Melon. Oh, nice. I will be your confidence. Yeah. You got this, Glenn. I'm certain you'll smash it. Based on what I've seen of your Mandalorian armor, I know you will just smash anything you endeavor to do. And I definitely understand that like the first part, the hardest part is starting. But you'll be great. I know that for certain. No matter what you do, you'll have our support, first of all. And then second of all, you're just gonna smash it. Smash it out of the park anyway. I don't know how I'm up right now. I only slept 6 hours. I usually sleep 12. Damn. I mean, yeah, it is astounding that you're up. If that's your regular sleep schedule, it's a lot of hours. 6 hours is enough for you to function. Yeah, not for Sona though. I think I can get by with like a solid 7 or 6. On the other hand, if people pirate movies and games, I mean, I do get it. After all, with streaming services being the most popular form of shows, the movies you'll need Netflix to watch season 1, the Amazon to watch season 2 to 4, the Hulu to watch season 5 to 7, to watch whatever it is you want to watch. Yeah, it's a monopoly on streaming services essentially, isn't it? Like it really is kind of very exploitative, isn't it? Yo, accused. You got this, Glenn. You got this. I have a friend who just started dice casting. So casting dice, and she was very nervous about it at first, but she started today and she did great. Knocked it out of the park. So I know if you're eager to do it, eager to do something, just do it. Even if you start off bad, you're going to smash it in the end. That's all that matters, right? Silent News, they have their trial shift as a bartender at the strip club. Oh, cool. Good luck. Good luck, Silent. Get that bread. Get that cheddar. I'm sure you'll do great. As we're talking about doing great, you're going to smash it. I'm certain of it. Let us know how it goes. So I understand if people pirate movies, shows, and games, but yeah, valid. You don't want to pirate comics. Being a creator yourself, it very much depends, honestly, because like some comics are fine to kind of pirate because they're actually not supporting the artist. They kind of go around the artist, and it's just the provider, just like streaming services, essentially. So those ones I'm happy to, divert the payment of. I need too much sleep, especially when I'm not doing anything actively. I get tired. I get that. I get tired, just processing thoughts and emotions, I need a lot of sleep to process those emotions, right? Can get by with 3 hours of sleep. Silent. That's very impressive, but holy fuck. Get your sleep. With games costing $80. Okay, yeah, I get if some people pirate those games, yeah. Mass being a creator yourself, I need your opinion on world building. Sure. Let me know what you want me to tell you. Ask away. I never buy AAA games at full price, and if I do, cough Starfield, Destiny 2, Beyond Light, cough, I regret it. Yeah, I always wait for specials or things along those lines. I never pay full price for AAA games anymore. I don't ever pay full price for any game anymore. I'm too busy, so I never get around to buying games, really. I'll pirate anything that is deserving of being pirated. That's a very good way of putting it, Silent. I think that's very fair. I don't play games. Yeah, I get that. I only play League and WoW. Ah, League and WoW. Interesting. I'm a bad gamer. No, there's no such thing as a bad gamer. Only those who do not foster inclusivity. Those are bad gamers. And I don't think you're one of those people. Numbers and population gets weird, does it not? Because if you create a kingdom with 3 million, you need whatever can sustain 3 million people. Yeah, in terms of land, food, etc. So it's hard to have a realistic population. Kind of. I think in terms of making in quotation marks, a realistic population, you actually need to account for those laws, like laws of reality. And so if you have a realistic, in quotation marks, population, it's probably not going to be 3 million. It might be like 9,000. Because that's the kind of population that can be sustained in smaller settings. If you have a city, then yeah, definitely. But then also you have trade, you have, explanations. With fantasy settings, you have magic. So then you can also explain away the high population and low density of farmland with magic and things like that. But you need to be able to establish that and explain that in a way that feels reasonable, and that's the suspension of disbelief in that regard. Is from a soft AAA company. Hold on, sorry. Oh, yeah. I'm a bad gamer. No, you're not. You're not a bad gamer, Sona. You're great. You're doing fantastic. Do you bath? Do you bath? I do bath. Do you bath? No. Nay. Occasionally. The only bad games are the toxic ones. Yeah, exactly. And if you're engaging that toxic behavior, then you're a bad gamer. Yeah. Because whenever I see some universe saying, oh, there's 7,000 soldiers guarding everything, but you need it to be where what size can be protected by 7,000 soldiers, right? Yeah. And like a good way of looking at it is to look at historical population numbers. So if you have like a samurai set world building, or if you're world building a samurai feudal kind of Japan landscape, then you would look at population statistics from feudal Japan, or things like that. 9,000 million. Jesus, that's a lot. That's a big population. probably can't explain that away with just magic. Like with Game of Thrones, I look at the size of the kingdoms and then the population size and then their army size. I always think, is that too small or too big of a population? That's a really fair point. I think for Game of Thrones, it's probably okay, but I can't remember a lot of Game of Thrones, to be fair. So asking from Software, the Elden Ring people is a AAA company. Yeah. Oh, asking if From Software. Oh, sorry. Is From Oh, sorry, my brain like didn't compute that sentence. So I was just like, is From Soft a AAA company? I read it with the wrong emphasis. I'm so sorry. From Software is definitely, well, yeah, I think From Software is a AAA company, but they are a subdivision of Bandai Namco, which is definitely a AAA company. So, yeah. So I would say yes, but it's also complicated, right? Look at that. Oh man, I love this character. I love these characters. They're beautiful. I guess so one thing I've also started doing, there's the last good one AAA company then. Yeah. From Software is great. I have a printed sheet for Armella because I want to make sure I'm getting the face right. It's just sitting here. And I might do that for everyone, every single one of the characters going forward. Just print out a sheet and then stare at it longingly. Yeah, not all of them are demons. Yeah, there are some really, there are some decent, I don't even want to say that. There are some great indie companies, for sure. But, yeah, the AAA companies have been squiffy, to say the least, lately. I'm going to actually pull the Hex highlight brush up, because I don't use any of these other brushes, but I have them in my saved settings for some reason. I personally don't like Blizzard and Riot. Yeah, Blizzard and Riot have been dubious, to say the least, in recent years, for sure. There's also the Final Fantasy people. I'd call them good. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Orgondor in Lord of the Rings, they had 100,000 soldiers at their peak, but dwindled down to 30k by the time of the movies. But they've been fighting murder for like 1,000 years. So this is reasonable that there would be an army size that could still survive. I don't know. I always see numbers being inherently complicated. Yeah, me too. Numbers is super complicated. It's also why I try to avoid army sizes and stuff like that. Too much. Too much there. Hello, Link. How you doing? Indie companies are the future of gaming. Also, hello there, Grey Mouse. It's Sean. Oh, Sean. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. How you doing today? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I did. I'm just going to quickly go back and make sure I get everyone's responses. They can perish. Not even the bowels of hell deserve their presence. That being said, Blizzard has become actively better as they've changed their structure and directors. That's good. I don't know how Blizzard's going, but I hope that they have gotten better, for sure. Yeah, Link with Flames. I like the name. I like the new name. It's very nice. It's got a very whimsical vibe to it. Murder is murder. Fucking autocorrect. Wait, Mordor. Oh, murder is murder. Fucking autocorrect. I mean Mordor. Oh, right, okay. This guy made me remember I was the Pizzapedia the other day. Well, yeah, you are. You provided us with so much pizza knowledge on Thursday. We learned so much about pizza. It was great. That was a really good stream. I actually really enjoyed that. Because it's just like the pizza chat. Pizza chat was great. And me just dying over and over the card game. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Mordor. I have hydrated as well. Everybody, if you'd like to hydrate, please do so. And if you wouldn't like to hydrate, do it anyway. Gramus, if you ever do a cooking stream, can you make pizza, feet-shaped pizza? I mean, I could. Yeah. I'd be happy to do that. Maybe there'll be a cooking stream in the future. I think the likelihood of me doing a cooking stream on my channel is dubious. However, I know my friend Nexitai occasionally does cooking streams, and I will be visiting her at the end of the year. So, we might do a cooking stream together. But then again, I also wouldn't be against doing a cooking stream. I think I'd have to do that next year when I actually have a place that I have autonomy over, and then I will actually build a kitchen that is nice and good for cooking streams. I don't play Blizzard games. I actually wouldn't be against doing a cooking stream now that you've put that idea in my brain. I wouldn't be against it. I don't play Blizzard games, but when I heard they made Diablo Immortal only for mobile, when they're fans of PC gamers, I immediately quit the thought of playing their games. That's fair. That's fair. And that does feel very isolating, right? I was a pizza connoisseur by the end of the day. Yeah, I think we all were. I think I learned so much about pizza, and then the next day I went out and got pizza for dinner. I was so hungry for pizza. That would come out looking phallic. Not if I did the toes really distinctly, right? Right? Surely. I can avoid it looking phallic if I add toes. Surely. How about at like... I wonder where will I be at in a year's time? Like 300 followers? I might set a goal for that, but it should be like something big, so then it'll take a good bit of time. Because let's be honest, I don't have the kitchen set up for that. I'm always up for a foot and pizza. Good on you, Link. Good on you, Link. I'm always up for a foot. And pizza. Oh, nice. Yeah. Blizzard legit said you guys not have phones. Yeah, you guys will have phones, right? Blizzard. Why? Yeah. That does feel weird, doesn't it? Oh, I should unprawn. My back. I think they're actually trying to make mobile gaming the future, but the PC and console players are working heavily against it. Yeah. If it was more balanced, like if it was a more balanced rollout, I'm sure it would be fine. But yeah. Gray, you don't know how dough behaves when baking, do you? Well, I could always have like a pizza tray in the shape of a foot. I know how dough behaves when baking. I make bread. I know what I'm doing. I was thinking about making a Pip-Boy-esque arm piece where I can put your phone in. Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah. My brother actually really likes the Pip-Boy that you could get with like the pre-order of Fallout 4, and he has that. And you could put your phone in that, but it would be cool to have your own. Oh, Jesus. How am I going to do this? I'll think about it. We have a joke going in Jelly's stream because I did a hacking troll with foot artwork. Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah. I think Jelly told me about that. It's good stuff. Yeah, everybody's got to have a thing, you know? The claim to fame, as it were. That would be so sick. Talk about drip. It would be cool. The Pip-Boy and stuff. So basically the foot guy there. Yeah. Well, you got to be known for something, right? Not all of us are so lucky to have a claim to fame. Always wanted the Fallout New Vegas Courier 6 satchel bag, and for those who don't know, yes, it does exist. I bet it does, yeah. Just, I don't remember. Like, I don't really remember the bags in Fallout. At least not New Vegas. I haven't played New Vegas in a very long time. To be completely fair, though, as well. Don't know how this will look. Maybe a bit squiff. Oh, right, I started running my law a bit today as well. Oh, that's cool, Silent. How's it going? You were talking about how writing is a little bit easier. So hold on. Just fiddling around with this kind of look. I'm not necessarily super happy with it. Let's get it right. Yeah. How you feeling? You haven't burnt out yet, surely. Because that's how I feel sometimes when I write, is that I just feel burnt out pretty much immediately after starting. And sometimes it takes like a good bit of convincing, like mental convincing, to get me to do it. Because writing can be a lot, you know? I wonder if I add the flowers, which I really like. I like the flowers, but they're definitely work. They're definitely work. That's for sure. Then again, everything is work. It's art. This might be a moment. Yada. Yada. I do not care for that. It's just a bit too much. And that's like a weird vignette. I don't care for it at all. I might just do like a touch of light either side, and that will be good enough. That's my secret. I'm always burnt out. You know what? I understand that so deeply. Fair enough. That is the artist's way, right? You mean some people aren't burnt out? I don't understand. Yeah. Oh, hey, Artie. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Um, Honestly, I do get that. You really got to take like big long breaks to stop yourself from being burnt out, and even then, you kind of still a level of burnt out. Like I feel that so deeply. Like I love this comic to bits, but I do also feel sometimes just burnt out by it. Apparently, this guy isn't burnt out all the time. I'm not always burnt out. Sometimes I go for a hike, and that feels great. But I'm not doing art then. Sometimes I draw just like I drew a little bear a few days ago, and that wasn't a burnout. That was great. Am I on the wrong layer? Oh no, it's my wrong layer emote. If I am actually on the wrong layer, I'm scared. I did actually draw something on the wrong layer a little while ago. These ones. So the details on these trees are not actually the detail in the detail line like layer. I fucked it up. See, he has Watchcraft. Sounds fake, but okay. Watchcraft. I make watches, guys. That's how I stay unburnt out. Imagine living in a society where people are not doomed to burn out eventually. Yeah, the dream, right? Where you just can kind of do art and do things that you love without the risk of burning out. Madness. I have, however, noticed that the soft shadows are a little bit dusty down the... Oh, fuck. Wrong layer. Soft shadows. So, yeah, it's not quite as solid down the bottom of Ratchet's chin. And I want them to be solid. Just down there. I would love a society like that, but with the rise of AI, we're not getting it. Because the dang robot's taking our jobs. Taking our art. I got burnt out of everything my second year of high school and haven't recovered. Yeah, you just have like one burnout and then it continues forever. That's how burnout works. It's one burnout and that's it. It's one burnout that just continues forever. That will be the goal of my future queer commune. Nice. No burnout. It's illegal. You burn out, you get burned at the stake. I did a thumbs up when I said that, and it's probably the most inappropriate use of a thumbs up I've ever done. Queer commune is the way to go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Finished panels. That's what I'm trying to write. Finished panels. Ooh. Funnily enough, the burnout hit me when your friend did a burnout in his car. You just felt it as it was going. You're just like, oh, I know what to call this. You knew exactly what it was because you knew what it was. You knew where you were and what this was. Ah, burnout. Yes, I know this feeling. Sounds like he cursed you with burnout. You have like the OG burnout. Or I guess it's like second generation burnout because it was like born of the original burnout, which is just a burnout. These words are starting to have like no meaning anymore. Burnout is starting to not be a word to me. Line work. So we go bippity boppity boo. And then we separate these panels. Yeah, nice. And then back to drawing. And what's cool is that this panel doesn't have a background, really. I always say that. I'm like, this is cool because it doesn't have a background. And then I draw a background anyway, because I'm an idiot. We arbitrarily apply meaning to words so they never had meaning in the first place. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there at all. Thank you for the pats for little Ratchet. He very much appreciates it. He loves a good pat and a cuddle, but I don't have a cuddle redeem for Ratchet. Or anybody for that matter. Not yet. One day. Sorry, I just stared at my kilobytes per second as it like dipped, and I was just like, no. What are you doing? Return to whence you came. I say that now and it's gonna dip again, probably. Because it smells fear. My Wi-Fi smells fear. It crashes at the thought of it. Actually, which side is this bit? And if he turns... It is that way. Cool. Don't want it to curve too much. But I do want it to curve a little bit, because he is turning. And yippa, there we go. Actually, how much of the top of his head do we see? Probably very little, since we're looking down on him. And I know it's weird to say it like that, because surely we would see more of the top of his head, but if he's looking up, we actually see less. That's just what that's the internal logic I'm gonna use to get away with not drawing his flight helmet. Because I don't wanna. It's not that I don't wanna, it's just that I don't need to. So I'm not gonna waste my time drawing things I don't need to. Madness. Everybody who's been in this stream at least once knows I'm lying to myself. If there's any way that I can just inconvenience myself and draw more, I'm going to. Gonna take a trip to the hardware store, back later, all good, have fun. Don't go impulse buying stuff, as everyone would say to me when I go to a hardware store. Just because it looks cool doesn't mean you need it. But have fun. Be safe. I don't know. Somebody messaging me. Who's talking to me? Oh no, it's nobody. Good. It's not anybody talking to me. Good. Give me my privacy. Give me my silent time. The real me is no longer. Once I clock off, I'm Grey Mouse Inc. There we go. How much of his arm is gonna be visible? Don't know. Again, I don't know why I'm this zoomed out. Just zoom in. Draw the little details. Do it, Grey Mouse. You dingus. It's fine. Zoom in. It's not like paper where you can only get so close to it. Yeah. And I'm probably not going to need a reference today, so y'all sadly do not get to see the reference camera. Thinking about it, I'm not drawing any landscape, so I'm not going to be using my reference camera. Not for today. Not this time. Next time, maybe. We'll see. That's his arm. And what's left to draw is his face. His little goblin face. But he's not gobbling anything yet. I don't know what I'm saying. He's not eating food. Still, one thing I miss about Procreate is just the make a perfect circle just by holding down the line. Because in Procreate, you could just do this, like circle, and then hold it down, and it'll make a perfect circle. The fact that I've drawn a pretty good circle there is not Clip Studio. That's me. That's all me. But it's one thing I really like about Procreate is that all you have to do is hold down the line you just drew, and it'll straighten it out. And like for the most part, you don't need to use it. But then for things where you actually need more of a circle, it's perfect. It's a perfect little addition. So it makes me sad that Clip Studio doesn't have something along those lines. Maybe it does. Maybe I need to delve deeper into Clip Studio, because I've learned a few more things that have been useful. Oh, that's bad. May as well give like a bit of a horizon. Well, not a horizon, but, you know, ground. Bit of a ground, you know. Not much though, because it doesn't need that much, really. Is it gonna matter? I'm just thinking, because I have to do a work trip next week. I'm just thinking it'll affect Tuesday and Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, other way around. Yeah. So there won't be any art streams next week because I'll be in Lesmore for work. But I'll remind people on the Discord later in the week just so that people remember that I just won't be around. Okay, and let's just make these adjustments now. Because he's cute. His little wide eyes are cute, but his pupils are not that far apart. Or his eyes aren't that far apart. He can have the big eyes, of course, but they're not that far apart. What can I trim down to make things look more natural? Maybe that's had the opposite effect. Let's pop it back. Yeah. Oh. Just rolling my neck so I don't feel any of that neck strain. And that's it. That's all that needs to be done. Leave this as it is. No, color. Next. Actually, but one thing I do kind of want to do is just add something sweet to Armella's hat. Like a flower. Just something nice, you know? Something that indicates to the reader that this character is friendly. I mean, not that this first panel definitely illustrates that. Let's be honest. She's a sweet-looking woman. She looks like she would be nice. But a flower just reinforces that, right? There we go. Nice. And it is the Grey Mouse way to just make things slightly more complicated for as long as possible. Ooh, can I make this more complicated? Yes, yes you can, Grey Mouse. Don't worry, we have the technology. We can make this worse for you. And then remove the light and the soft shadows. More complicated. Yeah, you know me. I love to just be like, oh, can I make this more complicated for me? Yeah. Yeah, I can. Bam. More complicated. That's not that complicated, but you know what I mean. I love a bit of just needless complication added to my shit. See, yeah, no, it's right there. Cool. So his hair and his pupils are the color of this darkness. Because I don't like using just pure black for anything, like especially for when I could use color. So I never use pure black for anything other than line work. Peppity peppity boo. Ah, shit. Not ah, shit. Never mind. It's absolutely fine. It's literally not a problem, but I thought I'd just swear anyway. Ah, fuck. Messed it up. Again. Nothing went wrong. Literally everything is fine. And then I needed like a dirt brown. There we go. A lot easier to do than I thought it would be. I'm almost tempted to go with a different color for the flower, not purple. Purple is beautiful, and it works with Armella's like color palette. However, I am more tempted to do something different. May as well. Yeah, something nice. A nice color. And because I don't necessarily want to do too much rendering on the flower when the flower's really not the most important thing. So just do something quick now. Quick and easy. That looks like crap. That looks terrible. Don't add the yellow. At least not to that bit. Anyway. Yeah, nice. It's just simple, you know, just simple. Just, yeah, saying just simple as I'm drawing really complicated, like, stuff. It is the grey mouse way to understate. To gaslight, gatekeep, grey mouse. It is one of our mottos. Gaslight, gatekeep, grey mouse. Girl boss. How is that? It looks like an image that I could tolerate. Yeah, nice. I can tolerate this being in my comic. Yeah, it looks fine. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Link. I will do all these things. Y'all better be doing them too. We have been sitting for almost an hour. Probably best to hydrate, probably best to stretch. Thank you, Otti. I needed that. I feel so good now. Feel so reinvigorated with the stretch and with the hydrate and the check. Now with a pat on the head, I just feel good and ready to go. I'm going to continue my stretch just for a little bit longer. Oh, I might try stretching and moaning less. So, apologies, gang. Well-being check to Gray from the Brain Cell Buddies. Yeah, thank you, Brain Cell Buddies. I appreciate it. Keeping me, you know, from not being sore. And I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much, gang. Brain Cell Buddies. I love that name. It's a good one. Shadows. Stick to it. See, we are totally angels. Yeah, you're lovely. I had no doubt, though. I had no doubt in my mind that you were lovely. You're from Jelly's chat, so you're probably a little bit chaotic, but definitely sweethearts. That's for sure. Perfect. I'm glad that you have like an emotes that just fit every occasion. It's very impressive. If I do that, and this is the update, is that I can now do that. And look at that threshold. There's no little white line in the shadow. Fantastic. My life is that much easier. I love it. Chaotic is our middle name. Good. Well, yeah, I need a little bit of chaos in my chats. That is a welcome addition for me. Because I feel like if it doesn't get chaotic, it becomes too wholesome. And that's a problem for me. I don't want it to stay wholesome. Need a little bit of chaos. I don't need that. And there's Grey Mass, bloody my timer, which is good. I'm glad it keeps me in check as well, but I've already done those things. So we're sorted. Greybot, we don't need you. Not here. I do actually have like a grass brush, but I've not used it yet. Hold on. That's because I've got it clipped to a certain thing. That, and I don't care for it, because, I mean, it works, but it doesn't match my style at all. So I would just rather leave it. Leave and not deal with it. At least for a while. What the hell are you? Pen brush. Just my usual pen brush. Is that good? I don't know. I think it's good. There'll be a post there, so just do that. Oh god, that's a thick render brush. I don't care for it at all in that situation. Yucky. Just yucky. In my humble opinion, which is humble. Okay, and then the most important thing, the boy, the little bean. When in doubt, just aim the shadows down, is what I do. If I feel like I don't know where the shadows are supposed to go for this, just aim them down. Downwards. That seems to work. But then also, it's got an armella in his face, so gonna need to cover him completely. And I'm just gonna fill these in as well, just cover them. Pretty much a hard shadow all the way down. Let's be honest. There's a sun hat just in Ratchet's face. Of course, half of his face is gonna be covered. Let's not fool ourselves. Here. Ratchet's face is pretty much covered in the shadow. just, yeah, fill in. A lot of this is just going to need to be filled in because he's been covered. Half of his face completely covered. Shadows can be very tricky sometimes. I mean, they add a lot of depth and drama to the whole scene, but man, it takes all the processing power. Absolutely. Figuring out where the shadows land and cascade is really tough. I have multiple books that kind of just teach shadows and stuff, and even then it's still going to take me a while to get 100% right. Because it's like for me, like one of the challenges is just understanding the concept of how shadows work. If you know what I mean. Because like understanding how light bends and works is just a whole kind of lesson in art on its own, even without the whole, doing art bit. It's still like there is still this whole process to it, which can be like one of the challenges is just being able to comprehend how that even works and then implement it. You get what I mean? Good, thank goodness. Somebody understands what I'm saying. Like, I know what I'm saying, but like sometimes like articulating that is very difficult. Because just being able to understand the concept of how a shadow works is tough in art. It's not easy, that's for sure. And because, like, realistically, Armella's sun hat will cover a lot of Ratchet's, like, backlight, or now front light. So it's actually really, like, so much of Ratchet is actually covered light-wise. And it'll be more obvious when I come to the soft shadows layer, but, like, a lot can be cut out in the lighting space because of Armella's hat. But it's a fun exercise as well. So I've actually also been practicing a lot of lighting exercises. And so a lot of my more recent concept artwork has characters drawn but under different lighting conditions, which has been a lot of fun, but very complicated as well, to be fair. You know what you're saying, but you don't know if other people know what you're saying? Yeah, exactly. It's like, how do I articulate this in a way that other people will understand? Because it may be a very simple concept, but if I articulate it badly, it can make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I don't want to do that. I have never taught art in my life, so I don't know how to articulate these points across, but my belief is that you basically need to like learn multiple schools of thought to do art well. Not that, and if that makes art feel unapproachable, it's not as complicated as I make it out to seem, but it is a part of it. Also, there's a gap between you being an artist and those who aren't artists. Yeah, absolutely. And it being able to explain it in a way that I understand is very easy because I know my brain. And if I explain it in a way that makes it easy for me to understand, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make sense. Fuck. I just pressed the wrong layer. People generally go for forms. I mean, sure, that sounds good, but shadows and lights don't just come in shape, in same shape. There are occlusion shadows, and lights don't just come in the same shape. They cast shadows, form shadows, and we have light side too. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that when I was learning shadows, or while I'm learning shadows, that was very interesting is that like the shadow is darkest just before it like cascades off into backlight, and so there's like a ring. And for like more realistic art, so this, because I'm drawing cartoon art, I kind of get away with not doing this. But basically, if you have like a sphere in the middle part before the light or before the ball is completely obscured by shadow, the middle line is the darkest, and that can be very hard to explain because it for some people it doesn't make sense, and it's because the backlight or the bounce light bounces onto the other side of the sphere, which then makes it lighter than the middle part, which doesn't have that bounce. It's like that weird thing when you're tasked with teaching people something you've been doing for 15 years, but you think all of this deep knowledge is very common knowledge. Yeah, and it's also like intuitive to you at that point. It's muscle memory for you at that point. Yeah, the angle of the surface, it freaking sucks. The core shadow. Yes, that's it. Core shadow sucks. It's not why I ignore it, but it's because I do cartoon art, it doesn't matter. But it is very weird. I guess I do a version of it with the hard shadows and soft shadows, but it is very odd. Like, I've taught people how to play some games, and they did things I thought was obvious not to do, and I'd have to tell them the most very basics of basics. So as we played, I'd made the mistake and then think, oh fuck, that's right, I'm so disciplined, I know not to do that, but obviously this is new to you. Okay, fuck, I have to think. Like, you hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's like stuff that you're not even thinking about at that point become brutally relevant in the moment because there is a person who is learning fresh. And that can suck. It can suck to realize that maybe you don't know how to articulate those things well, even though you've been doing it for a long time. Not that it matters. Like, it's all a learning process. The only thing I know to draw core shadow with imagination is probably an egg. Everything else is just, nah, I need a reference. I still managed to screw it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally get what you mean. When it, like, doing the core shadow is more simplified on a spherical or almost spherical item. But then once you get into planes, it becomes this whole nother ball game. Completely. It's insane. That's because this person learning fresh, yeah, like out of the womb fresh almost. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. It's hard to put together the terminologies of art. Oh, absolutely. And then the terminologies of art don't necessarily translate as well across mediums. Because, like, rendering, the term rendering is used so commonly in multiple different things, and it never means the same thing across these mediums. It's very frustrating. Because, for those of you who don't know, I'm an editor during the day. In my day-to-day life, I'm an editor. And rendering means something very different in video editing terms than it does in art terms. But I do both of these things. So you can probably understand where my frustration lies. In that if I need to render out a video, it's very different from rendering out an artwork. And we're just supposed to be okay with that. Yeah. That's too bright. Because, like, this in a sense is rendering. It's not exactly rendering, but it is in a sense rendering. However, it's not rendering in an editing sense, a video editing sense. It's very weird. 3D and video editing rendering is a process of sitting and hoping for the PC not to crash and do its job. Exactly, yeah. You do very little. It's a lot of the computer doing stuff. Rendering an art is you do everything. You are completely responsible for every little part of that process. It's wild. It's wild that it's the same word, but it means two completely different things. This is going to be too bright. Oh, no, it's okay. I can live with this. If it had been any brighter, I would have been mad at myself. Yep. Yep. Let's grab all these light spots. And then also, highlights. Highlights confuse the shit out of me for ages. Like, so long that I'm fairly certain I started the comic not fully understanding how to illustrate highlights. Even now, it's squiffy, for sure. And then I read in a book that highlights are essentially the reflection of light that we can see. So it is basically where the light bounces directly into our eyes. That's what a highlight is. And it changed my life. It changed my life learning that. That's how a highlight is supposed to be. Is that where the light bounces into our imaginary eyes in terms of a, fly on the wall shot like this. That's where the highlight should be. Madness. How do people know these things? I certainly don't. I think highlight is easily cheatable. Yeah. I mean, yes. I feel like, to be fair, there are a lot of avenues in which you can kind of cheat. Or not even really cheat. It's work smarter, not harder, right? In art. Because, with the soft shadows, I'm basically just making an additional layer and then erasing some of the dark spots. And that's a cheat. That's a cheat to create deep, greater depth in my characters. That's technically cheating. However, this is working smarter, not harder. It's decreasing the amount of time I'm angry and frustrated at myself. That's great. I'll give whatever I can to get more of that time. Ugh, terrible. There we go, we're good. Ugh, terrible. No, it's fine. Yeah, cheating is also smart work. Unpopular opinion. Yeah, it's crafty work, right? And in a situation where it's not gonna harm anyone, it's fine. This is not a universal stance. Do not cheat in certain things. Do not cheat on your partners. Do not cheat on maths tests. If you are critically bad at maths, just fail. Sorry. Or study really hard and, do all that stuff. Or just fail, like I did in high school. Give up and fail. Don't actually give up. Keep trying, but if you fail, you fail. It's not the end of the world. My wise words to live by. You're very welcome, everybody, for this important life advice. I know life is hard. Give up. Life's getting you down. Study is too hard. I feel you, man. I feel you. Give up. Sorry, I was watching the last year's cyclothon, and it just made me giggle. Premier 2, who I think is so funny, so funny. I was watching the cyclothon with Sea Dog VA, and it's just a bit where Premier 2 just gets the camera and he's getting to talk to the camera. And he's like, I know how you guys feel. Life's getting you down. Feels unfair. Things are going wrong. School not going the way you wanted to. Your relationship falling apart. I feel you. give up. And then he just stops talking. And it's like, oh, right. It always makes me laugh. Because it's just like, wow, this is terrible advice. This is maybe the worst thing you could hear if you needed a pick-me-up. But he's also saying it in a very comedic way, so it's very obvious that he's doing it as a joke. So yeah, I find it very funny. Premiere 2, I find him very funny. Yay, that worked. I also love that, like, soft lo-fi is playing as I'm going, give up! I know, life is getting you down, I understand. Give up! Sorry, I gotta stop doing that. Does this look alright? It's a sun hat. I don't think that's... No, I'll do the, like, curves and stuff in the soft shadows, I think. That makes more sense, right? And by soft shadows, I mean now, because we got soft shadows. I hope these layers don't take too long. Because I do, like, weirdly enough, I do feel behind. And I think I've talked about this before, but like, I feel like I'm behind on my deadline. Not that I have a deadline. When do I? Yeah, there we go. But I want to get this chapter out, even though it's going to be 20 pages, so more than previous. What's the problem? Oh, because it's not... Ah, that's why. Because I've not done the soft shadows layer. Staring and just not knowing why I can't fill bucket. Been zoned out in another dimension since my last message, so like 30 minutes. That's okay, you do you. Zone out if you like, it's all good. John Cena would be proud of us, but from the opposite end. Yeah, nice, you gave up. Nice work, brother. I don't think... There's no harm in that. I think, well, my mentality about giving up, in quotation marks, is that if it's something that you are actually actively forcing yourself to do, then you're not giving up. You're taking care of yourself first and foremost. Oh god, yucky. Just gonna fill it like that. I'll fiddle around with that in a bit, but if it is what it is, that's okay. Just give up, throw in the towel, lay down and cry. Yeah, right, I forgot to do this. No! Ugh! Jesus. Don't lick me. I'm trying to do art. If I'm getting licked, I can't concentrate. How am I supposed to be a professional artiste if I'm getting licked? Then again, I assume, like, Andy Warhol probably didn't mind it. He seems like the kind of guy who probably would get, like, licked while he did his art. Kind of like a weirdie. One of those weirdies. Yeah. No! No! The underlick. No! And I thought it couldn't get worse. Just did. Ugh. Damn it. Doesn't rain, it pours for poor grey mouse. For poor old grey mouse. Grey muzzy. All the light, like the light is prioritizing this side. Everything else kinda not important. can get even worse. No, it's a full box in. It's a full four-corner lick. Fuck, my existence is terrible. This is the worst. Certainly don't enjoy this. Yuck. Icky. Roll it that way. Give it a bit of roll because his pupils are curved, as most people's pupils are. Not pupils, eyes. I guess that's right. I looked up the AC Unity book and it was 469 pages, and I remember you saying it was a big book. And well, yeah, almost 500 pages is quite a lot. Yeah, I don't even have it anymore as well, like, remarkably. I read it when I was a teenager. I don't even have it anymore. It's gone. Because I moved. It's not because I threw it out or anything. I'm fairly certain it's actually still at my parents' place. Why do I have a sudden urge of getting pizza now? Don't say pizza. Silent is in the chat. You'll summon him. Pizza's good, though. You should get pizza. Pizza delicious. This is the kind of mess you get to witness. The behind the scenes of Ratchet and the Beanstalk Brigade. There we go. Is it lost to the shadow realm of one of many places it can be in your parents' house? Yeah, probably. It may actually, like, now that I'm thinking about it, it may even just be destroyed. Because not like out of rage or hatred for the book. Like, it has nothing to do with the book itself. I moved away 3 years ago. Wow, holy shit. I've been living in Adelaide for about, 2 years ago. But I moved away, and then there was a pretty heavy flood in my hometown. And we have a storage shed, but sadly that's like at the lowest plane in the town. So at the lowest sea level in town. And so that was pretty heavily flooded. If the books that weren't brought across with me were in there, they're probably gone. Pizza Italian dish invented in the... No! Quick, I gotta time him out. Silence him. Do as your namesake, and then just like... Silent solidarity has been timed out for 30 minutes. I'm gonna just have to bail on pizza. I already got 2 fast food orders this month, so I'll be crossing my limit. I'm done for the month. That's fair enough. I mean, that's very good self-restraint of you, though. Like, I treat myself every so often to takeaway. But yeah, definitely a good idea to try and reduce the amount, right? I'm not timed out. No, I'm not actually going to time you out. I think that would be mean. And also, I don't necessarily want to, like, silence you just because you're talking about pizza. Because I like pizza. Pizza! Oh, hey, I'm not timed out. No, I didn't actually, like... Can you imagine if I actually timed you out just because you were going to talk about pizza? Terrible. People are just chatting. People are just chatting in a group chat. I don't care about this shit. No, I was actually drawing light as well. Do a few of these. So one of the things I'm doing is that I want to include motion lines and stuff like that, but I want them to exist in a way that's kind of more flowy. I don't know what I'm saying. Doesn't matter. I would I would cancel you on Tumblr. No, not my precious Tumblr account. Not greymouse underscore. Uh, I don't even know. I don't know enough about Tumblr to even like actively satire it. I'm gonna be honest. Mario accent. It's a pizza. It's a pizza. It's a me. Pizza. Is that racist? Maybe a little. Doesn't matter. It's time to unprawn rat and maybe be less racist. Ah, thank you. Thank you, Greybot. Oh, I forgot to charge my Bluetooth headpiece, so I can't stay and listen to stream. Oh, good, Smiley. Have a wonderful stream. Thank you so much, Smiley. Have a lovely day. I hope you charge your headpiece soon and are well. Mouse, you're right. I need help for my Dead Space fanfiction. I set it up so that before even reading the story, you'll know that there is a resistance movement to fight necromorphs. You know their base equipment, weapons, and personnel again before even reading the actual story. So if you hear one member killed several necromorphs with a grenade, that was a perfect throw. You'll already have known that person was trained with grenades. Right, okay. I mean, Mario does it. Is he racist? Maybe. Maybe he is. But is Mario not Italian? Technically, he's Japanese. I don't know. So that is why it makes sense that if it was to do this, do it's them. Am I making sense? In a sense. So I assume you mean you've established. So you have established or pre-established written content about that stuff. I assume, right? But you're establishing weapons, people, place, and the resistance is what I'm saying. Hey, y'all. From Lights and Shadows, I've been trying to work out hairs, and man, it's a pain in the butt. Absolutely. Holy crap, hair fucking sucks. Going for realism, and I'm just lying here. I guess I'm gonna just give up. Well, don't give up. I know I was previously just going, give up. But don't do that. Hair is really difficult. Yeah. There are 100 ways to do it, and like 50 of them are wrong if you don't commit to it, you know? He is Japanese. So who does Italian accent lives in New York City? So yeah, pretty much racist. Yeah. Little bit. No, he lives in New Donk City. He doesn't live in New York City. He lives in New Donk City. Have you not played Super Mario Odyssey? It's the only bit of Mario knowledge I actually have. Yeah, pre-established lore. Okay, cool. Because I won't make it that you learn about them as you go. You'll know who does that, when and where, and the actual story happens. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you are pre-establishing those things because you don't want to establish them in story because that is a fair, like it works for some things, but it works easier if you are building something from the ground up because you're building something that is is even more pre-established than it is just more faff to add on. And then you have to, if you're going to do that, then you have to make sure that it remains within canon or, you know, reasonably within canon and stuff like that. It is a lot of faff, so I do get what you mean. Because whenever I read something about, oh, this person is really smart, blah, 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 but you don't know the story, but I'll make it so that you know the person is like a super genius, and then in the story they do the smart people shit. Yeah, so you're pre-establishing. You're pre-establishing character traits and character, which is a totally fine thing to do. A lot of manga does that, in a sense. So, yeah. It's totally doable. Mario movie had him in Brook. Oh, I haven't seen the Mario movie, so I don't know the Mario movie. So technically he's not even in New York City. That's true. Oh, you're right. He's racist times three. Yeah. I love that we're just slowly disassembling and figuring out that racist. Mario equals racist. Fuck, they need to sort their shit out, Nintendo. Oh, ah. Anyway, the invention of fettuccine Alfredo created the Alfredo di Lilio in 1907 in an effort to entice his convalescent wife Ines to eat after giving birth to their first child, Armando. Interesting. That's cool. That's lovely. That is actually a really lovely, like, backstory to pasta. Because whenever I read books and they say this person is really strong, blah blah blah, law, etc., I always think, so that person is strong. Is that obvious to people in law? Do they already know that, or was it a surprise? It's a good question, right? Like, because sometimes people use that as a bit of a crutch. I will admit the pre-establishing stuff can be a bit of a crutch, because some people don't necessarily want to provide visual evidence for things, and that can be frustrating. But it depends. Draw a Pokemon from memory. Ooh, Parasect. I have no idea what Pokemon that is, so let's get to it. Let me look up a picture. To be honest, my fan fiction is mostly that pre-established lore. I haven't done the actual story stuff. Yeah, and that's fine. Like, that's for that. Like, for what you're doing, it works and it makes sense. It's totally okay. Well, if the character's ripped to the nines with muscle, they better know. Yeah, and that's all that, like, as Silent has clearly demonstrated, that's actually a really good way of just establishing it or implying it. And that's one thing I really like. The implicit establishing stuff is really good, and it doesn't feel tacked on or forced. That was Chomp. Hey, Orpa. Damn right, stand on business, yeah. How you doing, Orpa? We're just about to draw a Pokemon from memory, so Parasect. So I'm very quickly going to look up a picture. I'll get 1 second to look at it, and then I start to draw. Because I have no idea what Pokemon this is, I'm not giving myself more time, but I'm going to look quite intently. Ah, okay. I know what Pokemon this is. I really don't like the draw Orpa from memory. Hold on. Orpa from memory. I can do that in like a second. This is in a second. Orpa. Got it. Hold on. I really don't like reading something and then have to learn as I go. I like knowing who people are, the situation, etc., etc. I get that. And it can definitely vary from story to story. Parasect is the giant mushroom mixed with a crab. Yeah, so it's like a hermit crab mixed with a mushroom. So that I can do. Thanks for the free new emote there. Yeah, sure. You're very welcome. Free? I'll invoice you later. Don't worry. So Parasect. Easy. So, there we go. So I'm using a very different brush for this. And this is a brush that actually has a bit of opacity to it, because then there's actually like a little bit more like visual kind of sketchiness to it. Which I like the idea of, especially if I'm doing drafts like this. Or quick sketches like this. I also haven't put up a timer, but that's okay. I'm just not gonna. At least for this one. But yeah, I like the idea that there's actually just a little bit more like depth and almost pencilness to these sketches. So that's why I've changed the brush to the one I usually use. I need to work on its pressure though, because it's currently the pressure is a little bit weird. So I have to push really hard to give it that nice dark line. Moves to another continent without forwarding address. Oh shit. Well, that's how you get past it. I guess it's free for you then. Yeah. Yeah. But if it's more like a lead pencil, then I can definitely draw things quicker and to a higher kind of quality. If that's where it remains, you know. The mushroom probably has taken over the poor crab, I feel. Yeah, definitely. It seems like a cordyceps kind of thing. And it's very classic for like old style Pokemon lore, which is quite grim. Like Pokédex entries from old Pokemon games are pretty fucking grim, from what I remember. I don't need to add that stuff. He doesn't have pupils. It's just circle eyes. Feels traditional. Yeah, exactly. It feels a little bit more traditional, which is nice. Got a heckin' cute Parasect already. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. And I will give credit to the brush, because it's all the brush, really. It's not me. It's not me doing all this. It's the brush making this all possible. Because also it means that I don't actually have to erase too much as well. I can just turn it into shading if it is done. Okay, Maz, so I'm sure you know what happened in the Battle of the Trident in Game of Thrones lore. I don't remember. It's related to an opinion I have. I can't remember the Battle of the Trident, I'll be completely honest with you. Lovely Parasect. Thank you. Thank you. It turned out pretty good, yeah. I will grab a picture of a Parasect now, because I feel like that's it. Parasect. I'm back. That looks amazing. Thank you. All the brush. Give me the same brush, not prove that it's not all the brush. So I'm using a brush called Juju. And it's great. It's really nice. I really like the brush. I almost typed in Juju into the search bar. I need Parasect. Parasect. Okay. So his claws are a little bit different, but otherwise, it's a Parasect. There's some really creepy looking images on Google for this guy. They fought over a trident, I'm pretty sure, in the Battle of the Trident. I mean, that makes sense, right? That tracks. Parasect. Here we have a Parasect. He is a great dancer. And unlike Mario, not racist. I drew this Pokemon really small. God knows why. Parasect. I mean, pretty close. The claws are a bit small, but otherwise pretty dang good. His claws are just like that, essentially. Which makes sense. I feel like, because I had hermit crabs at one point in my life, so I feel like maybe that's where my knowledge... Jesus. This eraser is good for some things, terrible for others. So I'm just going to clean it up. Yeah, I like this brush a lot for drafting stuff. It looks really good. It's a lot, and it's also a lot of fun to draw with too. Just saw an ad for a delivery job in until August and you might apply. Fair enough, Glenn. Welcome back. Welcome back. I did notice that you had come back a little bit sooner, but yeah, welcome back. Good luck. I hope you get it. They'd be lucky to have you. Okay, that'll do. Don't need to go too deep into it. When I see a no writing application required, only online survey to fill out, my eyes light up because I hate doing writing introduction of myself. Fair. I hate that too. It's really annoying. Just give me the job. Bruh, I'm trustworthy. I'm a mouse on the internet. I'm really trustworthy. You know? Basically, Robert Baratheon won the war against the Targaryens, but it's also not that expanded upon, and people always mention how cool it is and how important it was, which both are valid. But I feel like people mostly like it because since it's not expanded upon, it exists in whichever way you want to, yeah. And I feel like that's most people's reason for enjoying something, that everyone gets to have their opinion on it. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it's not fully expanded on, as you've said, and it leaves it up for interpretation. And for some things, that's great. Absolutely. Like battles. And that's fantastic. It is the implication of something more, if we're talking implication. But it is that mystery, and you can kind of infer what you will from it. And that's great. Ooh, time to spray paint the Mando armor. Well, let us know how it goes. Show pickies when you have finished, please, because I would love to see it. Yeah. Yeah, Glenn's been doing some really cool work on the Mando armor. It looks great. Oh, my beard is itchy. It's about time I probably shaved again. Poor old grey mouse and his fuzzy little face. Gotta shave the lower half of my face because it gets too itchy. Everything else is fine. I'm like Batman, but if Batman's cowl was his face, or was the hair on his face. Exactly. It's not as if there's anything inherently interesting, but that since is so vague, we all get to be happy. No, that since it's so vague, you wrote that correctly. I'm just reading stupid. Since it's so vague, we all get to be happy. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually doing something with that in the comic. Actually, I'll be doing it a few times in the comic, where we get stuff. You'll get the title of big events, but then you won't get anything further. And like some things will be expanded on, but other things won't be. And it's kind of up to you to interpret what happens. And like, I don't feel like it would be any issue to actually say one of these events out loud. But I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. So if I told you one of these events that will be mentioned quite continuously through the comics, but I didn't give you anything more than that, would y'all be happy? Would you like to hear that? Out of curiosity. As we finish another page as well. Oh, not page, panel, not page. Panel. Let's keep moving. Or again with Dead Space. Hold on. People always talk about Dead Space 4 and there's very little info about it. We all get to have our own version. Don't get me wrong, I'd want it to be a game as well, but I feel that if it was made, people would say, oh, wow, oh, now Dead Space 4 is bad, when really it just ruins your interpretation of it, so you're dissatisfied/disappointed. Yeah. The potential of Dead Space 4 is more enticing than actually than an actual Dead Space 4. If I'm picking up what you're putting down, which I may not be, but that's what I'm interpreting from you. I want to hear the lore. As a lore nerd, I'm down for any lore godly art streamer. Please tell us. So, instead of just telling you, I'll get you all to pick a number between 1 and 2, and the consensus will be what the name of the thing that I'll tell you. Because I have a few big events, but I'll tell you one of two. Or not tell you the big event, but something. 1.5. Damn it, Orpha. You got me. I'll tell you everything. That was my secret caveat. No. 1.5. God damn it. Don't bargain with me. That. That's okay, yeah. I just need to erase those bits. 1.3. Pick a number of 1 or 2. Either 1 or 2. Not 1.3, not 1.5. If we get another 1 point something, I'm timing you out. No. We are your chat. You gotta deal with us. That's fair. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. I want y'all to be smartasses with me. I think it's fun. I do find it funny. I am endeared to you all because you are all smartasses. By the law, I have to choose 1.4. Time him out. No, that's okay. Yes, it is, of course. It's not canon or whatever, but we also get to all be happy. Yes, happy for different reasons, but we're all happy. That's fair, yeah. Yeah, because of the interpretation. Or not interpretation, but the fact that we don't necessarily get exactly what we want, so we have to be happy with what we get. Two. We got a 2. Oh. Hold on. How does the flower look in this one? It's kind of all curled outward, so we need just a little bit inward. Fine, 1.5. Damn it, Zombie Slayer. You know the rules. I've made them abundantly clear. Pick 1 or 2. If you say 1.5, so help me. 1.6, I mean. Oh, God. Did a coin toss? It's 2 for you as well. Okay, we got 2. Give me law with a side of emotions. Maths. Okay. You should have picked 1 then. No. So 2. My Twitch broke. Oh, no. Everything seems to be working mostly normally for me, so... Okay. Staring at my bit rate. So 2... The one I was thinking of for 2. So there is an event that will be mentioned a few times, a fair amount of times. A historical event known as Moonlight. Heard the question and then had to reset everything. Oh no! There will be... So basically there is a... In this story, there will be a kingdom known as Moonlight. Something happens there, and the entire population of Moonlight disappears. I'm also your resident troll under the bridge. I didn't choose this life. Yes, the fuck I did. I'm happy about it, and I'm glad. This life chose me upon my death. Literally, no, seriously, it did. You are the troll under the bridge. And I'm currently working on the concept art for the people of Timberstone, and the troll is one of them. So it's coming. It's happening. What a heck teaser, yeah. Moonlight as in light from the moon. You know the moon made of cheese, the moonlight. That moonlight, yes, that moonlight. Aren't all events historical events? It could be a scientific event, but it's part of history, so that could be a historical event. Historical scientific event, right? Yeah, I mean, technically. But also events are used to herald things to come as well. So an event upcoming is also a thing. So not all events are historical. All events become historical, I guess. But then again, I wouldn't know. But yeah, so that's all you're getting. Moonlight was a city that contained many, many people. Then something happened. And then those people disappeared. Happened in an evening, not over the course of 100 years. However, it will be important to the story eventually. There you go. Little teaser. Little teaser of things to come. Oh, that's right, Mouse. I'm excited to see my character, whatever it is that he looks like. Yeah, I'm excited to draw him. Put stone into sword. This is a historical event. Technically, yeah. A personal historical event if it doesn't have, like, bounds breaking importance to the world anyway. I really I really need my phone checked or have to turn my autocorrect off. But in that case, I will practically be unintelligible. I meant heckin'. Nice. What a heckin' tease. Oh, now I understand, yeah. Have. Oh man, you do need to get your autocorrect checked, yeah. Gray, give me a completely random name. Pastuzo. Basically canon now that Silent did it, and canon solely because it was done by Silent. Yeah. For reasons I'll tell you after you give. There you go. I've given you Pastuzo. Hit myself in the eye with my hoodie bands. Jesus, Glenn. We doing? Totally, I'm all charged up. Yeah. That's the universe trying to balance out my good mood. No, don't let it balance you out. Maintain your good mood. Hold strong. That is your destiny. At least it is now. I have so decreed. Give it a... Yeah. She doesn't need a band. Does she have a band? We can't see it. Okay, my Fallout 4 character's name has been decided. Pastuzo. Hey! That's a good Fallout 4 character name. Pastuzo. It's trying to humble you. That's fair. The universe does work in very mysterious ways. It's a difficult name to remember. How about Pistachio? Pistachio is also good, yeah. But I thought of it because Pastuzo is the name of Paddington's uncle. And Paddington is always on my mind. I love that. I love those movies. I have a sense that this hair will be a pain in the ass to draw in future installments, I'm sure. But I like big hair. I like drawing big hair. Dr. Van Servan. Oh my god. That's great. And terrible names, so I outsourced them. That's fair enough. I'm happy to do it. I'm an artist and a writer. I'm happy to give names. I zoned out. Are you adding another name link? I thought about pistachio because I'm hungry. I need to have something. Yeah, get something to eat, Link. It might as well be another name. Yeah. A being with many a name. Which is pretty cool. To be known by many names. And yet remembered as one. I guess. Can't serve him. What did we do as a people to create that meme? It's serving cunt. Yes, it is. It's good shit. Oh, that's what it is. panel? It's a panel of a comic. I'm not writing a comic. Why is there a panel of a comic here? How's this sword look? Damn it. Where's my other panel with sword? It bends. It bends at the ends. Hell yeah. Yeah, that'll do. And by that'll do, I'm very happy with it. Which is a first. The tick in the lo-fi made me think that my living room clock went off and it's on. Yeah, it's one thing I dislike about lo-fi songs. They always add like little things that make me think that my computer is going to shut down or something's going to go wrong. That's for sure. I feel like a legend with that line. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just another name in my selection. I like big hair, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny feet, grey mouse. I do like big hair. Big hair is nice. It's fun to draw. Sometimes. Snare do be pretty dang good on lo-fi. That's true. I've currently got a cafe lo-fi song playing, which I am a big fan of, and I use quite regularly for these streams. Then a backpack, the banes of my existence, backpacks. She's got like a big backpack too, which is even worse. Big backpack with a lot of stuff because she's moving. It's sweet, yeah. Lo-fi is, yeah. It's the right kind of music to play with art. I would play my usual music, but it's a little too upbeat, too high beat, a little too rockin'. Hey, I'm suited. I'm suited. Yes. Not the mod settings holding me back. It's cool. It's a cool event though. It's like the Pilgrim Village. Don't remember the actual name, but in the US in the 1400s, they lived on the East Coast, and they were low on supplies, people, and food. So some went back to England to get supplies, and when they came back, everyone was just, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember reading about that. Gone. Just gone. And then the words Roanoke was carved into a tree or something. Yeah, I remember that. People just disappeared, and they probably, went into the forest and died, but like, they just disappeared one day. I think I found a better jam than yesterday. Ooh. Yeah? What kind of jam is it? Or is it music? The amount of times I get suited as the cosplay thing is astonishing. I should switch up that randomizer, because we have gotten suited a few times. I think it reflects how many times we raid the streamer that my hat is based on. Roanoke, the 6th American Horror Story season. Yes, exactly that, I think. I have watched very little American Horror Story. I think I got up to that bit where that maid bites that dude's penis off, and that was it. As someone who grew up in North Carolina, I can tell you what happened to those people. Oh yeah, what happened? They moved. They moved to New York, the Big Apple, before it was the Big Apple. It's your lo-fi, I'm honestly kidding. I found the Instagram account which made a heckin' goofy song, and I was like, I think I found the jam of the, oh, that makes sense. I thought you'd found like a strawberry jam. And I was like, that's very wholesome for this stream. I hear jam and I assume strawberry jam or canned, not canned, wow, jarred jam, jam or jelly, if you will. They joined up with the Native American tribe Roanoke because survive on your own got tough. That makes sense. Oh no, what jam did I miss? Music jam, as I'm learning, not jam jam, not blueberry jam. To my chagrin. Actually, I'm not a big fan of jam. I'll admit, after all this talk about jam, I'm not actually a big jam person. I will admit, actually, when I was a little kid, I hated jam. I can tolerate it now, but when I was a kid, I hated it so much that once when I got jam in my sandwich, which was my brother's sandwich, but he had already eaten my sandwich, I cried as a little kid. Little grey mouse. I was crying because I got a jam sandwich. Granted, we didn't know that for a while, but that's what happened. That makes sense, and it's better than the alternative. You want the sick lyrics? Of course. Absolutely. I'd love to know what this jam is. The thing that happened in Game of Thrones as well, that at Hardhome, the wildling village in the snow beyond the wall. Hardhome, fantastic name, just as a point of contention. I love the name, it's fantastic. That hundreds of years ago, possibly hundreds of wildlings lived there, and then for some reason they just vanished. Then hundreds of miles away at Castle Black, the Night's Watch saw a very bright fire, and all the way at Hardhome, and thought the sun was rising in the other direction. And whenever people went there, they'd hear screams in the caves and walls, but no one was there, which is horrifying, like deeply, deeply terrifying. That's so fucking scary. We are more of a cheese people here. That's true, yeah. Yeah, thanks for teaching us. Now those lyrics, I'd love to hear them. Yeah, like the mysterious disappearance stuff in history is such a scary concept. I don't know if that's the face that Ratchet should be pulling. Because this person isn't obviously dangerous. But he is still, like, surely visually suspicious of them. Don't make him cross-eyed. Ratchet! Hatsune Miku! There we go. Oh, there's a little squished eye. And now is he looking at Armella or her hat? Yes, he's looking at Armella. Cool. Let me just scratch me nose for a moment. And then draw the rest of him. The rat boy. Ratchet. Come on. Do it without overspilling the line. And that, it looks weird. Why does it look so weird? Hold on. It's probably because the fringe is just a bit too high. Fun fact, quite a lot of Game of Thrones history, wildfire is based off of Greek fire. The wall is Hadrian's Wall, bordering Scotland and England. Westeros is medieval England. North of the wall is Scotland, and the wildlings are the ancient Scottish called the Picts. Yes, I did know of that. And it becomes slightly more obvious when you're shown a map of Westeros, and it's just England flipped over, essentially. Which isn't a bad thing. Like, it's not... Like, no critique. I think that's great. like very straightforward world building. I love it. Oh God, prepare for the sick lyrics. I am a goddamned motherfucking cowboy daddy as a daddy was a cow and my mama was a boy. What the half person, half cow? That's me, a cowboy. Hoodelay, he life is a nightmare. That doesn't rhyme. What? I'm sickened. That doesn't rhyme. That makes me sad. No, that's wild. That is a jam. To be honest, if you wanted to make a scene scary, don't show us what happened. If you do thing where you hear the screams in the distance as a character closes the door, then you hear muffled screams in the room, now that's scary. Then actually seeing whatever happened. Sometimes. I agree with you, but sometimes. It's definitely a within reason kind of thing. So, one of the masters of horror movies, John Carpenter, so, Halloween, The Thing, one of modern day's premier horror directors had a saying about showing the monster, and it was essentially, you can show your monster, but make sure it's a good one. And I think it applies in this situation as well, in that you can show what happens to the person in a horror movie, but it has to be good, if you know what I mean. Saw that new story. So good. I have been researching the pages on Instagram, and it was in my recommendation. And I was like, heck yeah, I found the best. It's pretty good. Who's freaking uploading things at this hour of the night? Weird. Now, of course, I agree with Show Don't Tell. Yeah, fully agree there. But if you want to grab our attention... Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think modern film doesn't get that. Modern horror films don't get that, where they show too much. Or they wallow in the not showing as well. And I think that's a big problem too. Because I think this might be divisive saying, because I've heard people were quite positive about this movie, but Nope was garbage. Nope, the horror movie, was garbage because it like wallowed too much in the don't show, and then it ends up stagnating halfway through because it does nothing, because it does too much not showing, and that in itself can be a problem. And then when it gets to the showing, it wallows in the showing, and then its monster becomes like subdued and not lethal because that fucking plot armor. Which I also dislike, but it's also like I get, but some people are so blatant about plot armor, like some writers and shows are so blatant about plot armor that it's actually really frustrating. Or is very similar to comedy, don't show the main event. That really makes the imagination... Yeah, it really makes the imagination going. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to blow your load too early, essentially. It all fits, in that sense that you don't want to show too much, you don't want to do too much, you don't want to reveal too much too soon. Making good shows is hard. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Making a good show is immensely difficult. Yeah. That's looking good. And I definitely think people don't make it easier for themselves if they're comparing too much of their work to other people's work. However, I do also think that you need resources to be able to adequately manage what you are working with as well. I know personally I looked at multiple different resources before I even started writing, because I wanted to make sure I didn't make mistakes that I'd seen in other projects and things like that. I like your Twitch streams shows though. Thank you. Very hard to get right, so I appreciate that you appreciate them. Smiley, I really appreciate that. It is not easy to make shows good. That is for sure. And I'll say this with like animated Castlevania series, there's so much effort and work went into that, and I would say that season 3 and 4 were not great, but learning about the background to it made me realize how much work still went into that show, and how kind of let down, how much it was let down by characterization, less so than writing. And that can be rough. That can be a little more disappointing in itself, when something has the background and the work behind it to be good, and then because of poor writing or poor budgeting or anything like that, it ends up being bad. That's rough. Some plot armor is funny. The one example I have but don't know in the full context is Percy Jackson in the books was destined to die at a certain point, and he knows it, so he charges into battle because he knows he has plot armor, so he can essentially just be a one-man death squad. Yeah, so there is a term for that, and it is called. So it's actually, is there a term for that? Is there an accurate term for that? Because the word I was going to use is lamp shading, where something is put in front of you so blatantly that you understand it and it is established quite early on. And so as a result, that is almost more parody of the plot armor, which is good. It is a good writing practice, is that if you understand writing practices or art practices enough, then actively doing the opposite of them can be done really well. But it's something you can only do if you know that, essentially. As someone who isn't even an artist, I think about how fucking hard it would be to animate some stuff. It's incredibly hard. Like Fire and Hair seemed like the most difficult, if I had to guess. I think so. I'm no expert. I do some animations, and the Grey Mouse dancing emote is hand animated by me. And that was fucking hard. That was so much work, and that was so fucking hard. I guess lamp shading is the opposite of foreshadowing, correct? I think so. Sort of. Yes and no. So it's not necessarily the opposite. It is another form of foreshadowing, in a sense. It's basically, lamp shading is essentially that, oh man, actually, how do I explain this? That in a way that I'll understand. In a way that I will understand. Lamp shading is essentially almost the comedy version of foreshadowing, or it was originally used as the comedy version of foreshadowing. And it was used a lot in comedy because it basically, the term originates from a Groucho Marx skit where he was hiding from somebody and he wears a lampshade on his head, and that's how he hides from this person, is that he's dressed as a lampshade. And that's where we get the term lamp shading from. And basically it's something that is so obvious to us, the audience, but is not obvious to the characters, but is also used as foreshadowing or as a Chekhov's gun. There are shows and movies that use lamp shading really badly. So the example I've used before is the Mitchells versus the Machines, where basically in certain contexts, some media will basically use lamp shading as a way to backtrack a Chekhov's gun. And so something that is so blatantly obviously going to be used in the final confrontation, but needs to be introduced and established at some point, is established early on, but it is so specific that it doesn't make sense in that point in the story. then that's how you use lamp shading badly. I actually dislike this color for this hat. Sorry. There was a comic panel and newspaper back in those days. I forget the author. I'm not good with description, but imagine this comic. It's a skier looking at the ski trail in the first panel. Second one, it shows the trails going towards a tree with both feet splitting and going around the tree. And then the third panel shows the guy skiing in the distance. I'm sorry, what? Let me reread that. My brain was going at 100 miles a minute. Skier looking at the ski trail in the first panel. Second one, it shows the trails going towards the tree with both feet splitting and going around the tree. Yes. I understand now. Yes. Do lamp shading and foreshadowing exist in the same circle graph? Or are they their own graph? Like Venn diagram? Yeah. No, they exist in the same Venn diagram. So they would cross over at points. Absolutely. Because there are plenty of contexts where you would use lamp shading as a form of foreshadowing. But you wouldn't... It's like jacuzzis and hot tubs. You wouldn't necessarily use foreshadowing as a form of lamp shading. If you get what I mean. Yeah, Venn diagram. Yeah, I know what you mean. I was looking at a Venn diagram this morning, so I know. So it was on my mind. I don't like that color either. I'll be honest. I dislike it. The fact that they hid what happened when the skier went through the tree, that's where the comedy lies. Hide the important event, makes it funny. Yeah, exactly. It's like completely like blindsides your expectations. Which is another thing, another film thing that I have learned about in film school, is that like it's a Hitchcockian effect where basically our brains will put two images together and build expectation for something. So if I were to show you a picture of like a bundle of cats, a bundle of kittens, and then you're like, okay, bundle of kittens, lovely. And then I showed you a blender, your brain immediately makes an association or a connection, which I didn't do. I didn't make that association. You did. Your brains did. You're the monster, essentially. Is it that lamp shading can be foreshadowing, but foreshadowing is never lamp shading? It's not necessarily never lamp shading, but it usually isn't, I guess. I guess you could say. Lamp shading is not commonly... foreshadowing is not commonly lamp... Oh my god, my brain. Foreshadowing is not commonly lamp shading, because essentially if you're using foreshadowing as lamp shading, then you're doing foreshadowing wrong, essentially. If you get what I mean. There we go. So if you are doing foreshadowing incorrectly, then it's lamp shading. And that's a bad sign. Got it, thank you for this explanation, Maz, but obviously you're smart as fuck. I'm not that smart. Like, I just have a degree in film. Like, that's it. That's all. I studied film for 4 years. That's why I know all this stuff. And I wouldn't expect people, like, genuinely, I wouldn't force that on anyone. I wouldn't force people to know this stuff at all. And that's totally okay, because it's a lot. It's a lot of remedial and theoretical study, and it's not necessarily fun. I watched movies like The Conformist, which was a 3-hour-long film about a guy who wanted to be in, essentially, like, the Nazi Party. And it's very dry and not very fun to watch. But then also, on the other side, I watched Surf's Up in class, and that was great. That movie's fantastic. Well, you're smarter than me. I don't think so. I think intelligence is complicated, is deeply complicated. And I don't think anyone's stupid. I think everyone is smart in a certain capacity, or in a certain field or specific thing. Another thing that I find interesting is that I heard someone say that intelligence is not your ability to retain knowledge, it's your ability to find new knowledge and take it on, or conceptualize and understand it. And it's not, and so that's basically, if you are told something that differs to what you know, but is correct, it's your ability to understand it, learn from it, and build from it, more so than what you can retain. Mouse, no, I'm not smart. Also, Mouse, I have a degree in film. I studied for 4 years. Gotta be honest with you, big boss streamer, man, it sounds like you're smart. I have 2 degrees. Correction, no. The only reason I have a 4-year degree is because I studied 2 degrees. So I accidentally scammed myself into studying for longer. Is it the movie about being a Nazi is very boring, but there's a lot to analyze in it, and there's a lot to talk about? Holy Christ, it's boring? Yeah. Essentially, yeah. It's very dry. There's no comedy. There's no real drama either. There's, studied mushrooms. No, I didn't study mycology. I actually studied psychology. So I studied, my 2 degrees were, I did a Bachelor of Film and Media and a Bachelor of Science and Psychology. I fell in love with mycology many, many years later after I graduated. But I probably wouldn't go back and study mycology because I'd have to study biology as well. Knowledge isn't retaining everything. Damn, Mouse, you just called out the entire education system, but I do agree with you there. I wish I did study, like, if I could go back, I probably wouldn't study psychology. I'd study biology and then mycology. But it's okay. I study that stuff now, but in my own time. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. Is the movie about being a Nazi explained as it's one of the movies of all time? Sure, it's a movie, but saying it's a movie isn't much. Yeah, I guess so. It's in quotation marks, it's cinema. So basically, I realize I've probably explained it badly. He's not trying to be a Nazi. He's actually trying to be he's trying to be a fascist, I think. But basically, it's because he doesn't fit in anywhere. And so he thought that would be his easiest bet. And then as a result, he actually essentially ostracizes himself from those people, and those people are violent and terrible. And it's this slow, like, dissolving of character and person, and essentially it's this tragedy about a person who does not fit in the world, and he is never destined to fit in the world. But then there's also some really weird shit with, like, he's unfaithful to his fiance, and he doesn't care about that stuff. He's a terrible person, but he doesn't give a shit about that. You know, it's just a slippery slope, you know? It's cinema, it's not entertainment. Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, he's just trying to be a bad man. Yeah, exactly. He's doing absolutely everything he can to try and fit in, but his perception of how to do that is warped. Like, deeply warped. Yeah. Somehow I can always find that color, which is good. So self-destructive. Yeah, absolutely. Very self-destructive individual. But it's cinema. I also watched, like, it's a show called, not a show, damn it, a movie called The Company. So it's got Sydney from Scream in it. So the actors and actresses in it, it's got James Franco, the girl who plays Sydney from Scream, so the, like, Scream Queen there. It's also got the actor who played the main character from A Clockwork Orange. And so I could tell you, like, so basically these three actors in this movie called The Company. So what do you expect this film to be about, right? And I could give you like 100 guesses. If you don't know this film, I could give you 100 guesses and you would have no clue what it's about. I think. I feel like I could say very easily, right, that you'd have to teach him, yes, it's bad to cheat on your fiance. How the fuck do you have to say that's bad? Yeah, exactly. What's this? Shoulder. Shoulder. So we got resonant lavender. And then this color. For the... How the fuck did I... Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, like... I watched like a lot of artsy cinema in quotation marks, which is just a lot of really unentertaining stuff, or quite entertaining. The Company is quite entertaining. Or not entertaining, but a beautiful watch. Once you get into cinema, it's like, it's one of those films that is actually beautiful to watch. It's one of those movies where it doesn't cater to anyone, it's just a film. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100% Zombie Slayer. So The Company, and I'll tell you now, The Company is basically a film about a ballet company. How long did it take you to complete the 2 degrees? About 4 years. And in which I did 2 units of psychology degrees, so practical and theoretical psychology, and then 2 units of practical and theoretical film. Is it that you have to watch it with friends, otherwise you'd be bored to death? No, it's the kind of film you have to sit and analyze, essentially. That is quick. Yeah. Well, one of them's a media degree, so it wasn't going to take that long. But I basically did 2 units of each every semester, or not every semester, every term, and that would culminate in exams and assignments. But because of the media degree, I didn't do exams for film. I just did big assignments in which I, like, eventually by the end of my time there, I made my own film or made my own short film and things like that. But then in the psychology unit, I always had exams, which sucked because basically, once, my film cohort would be done with their finals and I'd have to be in exams doing sitting exams for like statistical psychology or what's it called? What was the word? Physiological psychology, or what's it called? Physiological neuroscience or things like that. I'd have guessed that totally for sure. I had ballet company in mind, but I didn't want to show you up. Look at look at me, so smart. I mean, you're pretty smart. You figured out that the company was about ballet, but there is no plot in the company. It is just a ballet film where people do ballet. There is a bit of a romance subplot, but it's not important. That it doesn't go through any turmoil or difficulty. It is just two people in a relationship, and one of them does ballet. And this film is an exploration of the beauty of movement and dance and things like that. But then also is a cinematically quite beautiful film because there's a lot of beautiful lighting and composition and things like that. And that's the stuff that you're supposed to be analyzing, is the beauty of film and explored through different mediums, essentially. But you're right, knowledge and being smart is vague. I'm sure that the IQ tests and IQ isn't just what makes you smart, but it's as if there was a very short, very summarized, very brief, very quick knowledge, but no, that's not just what makes you smart. Yeah, no, so there's IQ and EQ, and I'm sure you've heard the term emotional intelligence before, and it's a different measurement of one's intelligence. I can't imagine too many people would have studied those two combinations. So yeah, it would definitely hurt. Yeah, my exam periods were always really bad because I would always have exams, but then I would also always have big assignments as well. So it was always quite complicated. And then also, the one thing that I did find funny was that basically everyone I told I did this, they would say, "Oh, you'll be great at advertising," and they're not wrong, but it's not. It was never my plan. Uh, like me, I'm not necessarily smart, but I am. Yeah, creative. Also, I'm told. Yeah, and I think that's more important in some respect. But wow, you put me in math class, and I'll be tempted to just offing myself and go to sleep forever. I would just sleep in maths class. Like I was saying, just give up. If you're not good at maths, try. But if you're not good at it, you're not good at it. Yeah. So when I was at university and I told people was studying I was studying a double degree of psychology and media, they went, "Oh, you'll be good at, so you're looking to pursue a career in advertising." And I'm like, "Nope. I just want to study something practical and then also something theoretical, essentially. I like psychology, but then I also like film. Or I kind of like film. I also wanted to hang out with my brother, who was studying film. And then I fell in love with it, and then I became a quite competent cinematographer. So it's like stuff like that works out. A career in comic book and streaming. Yeah, exactly. Who would have guessed? It's like, "Oh, do you wanna be want to go into advertising?" I'm like, "Nope. I want to make comic books." I'm like, "What? You can study art at this university. Grey Mouse, what are you doing? You can study art. No one's stopping you." And I'm like, "No, I don't wanna." Maybe it was my self-defeatist attitude, but at the same time, got more time with gaming, so I'd do it again if I had a time machine. I guess so. It's one of those things. You're here now. There's no changing what you can do, so there's never any reason to kind of dwell on what ifs. And it's something I always say. It's like, you don't want to dwell on what ifs. It doesn't matter. It's only going to make you miserable if you're regretting something. So don't bother. The world is a good place. The world is a better place with you in it. And the you that is here now. I don't mean you or the potential of you. Who you are now, the world is a better place with you in it. This you. The one that you are currently. Who you grow to be is great. But who you are now is more than good enough as well. You should never forget that. Gave a thumbs up to the audience, and it makes no difference because you can't see my face or hands. Actually, you can actually see my hands now, but I'm not gonna. Hold on. Do I? Let me see if this actually works. I should test it. Okay, we're gonna test something. If the stream crashes, it crashes. Hold on, let me save my work first. Okay, gonna test something. Okay, I don't want to say anything. So it seems to be working so far. This is where I'm gonna put my reference books. It's a little camera. There you go. It works. Yippee! Yippee! It works. What is that? It's a little thingus. It's my little stress thingus. A carrot character. No, you squeeze it and his little head pops. That's what he does. Might be able to see it better like this. It's all reversed for me. Oh, stress. Yeah, it's a little stress squeezy thing. But there you go. For the closest thing you'll get to a face reveal. My hand. Hello. It's cool. It works. I'm really happy that that works as well. But that's where we'll be showing reference books going forward. So anytime I have a reference book that I want to look at for the comic and stuff, you'll get to see it too. You get to look at what I'm working on or what I'm using as a reference. And I will show it, and I'm more than happy to show it because like I now have a camera for it, and I thought it would just be a nice addition. So yeah, because one of the things that I found like when I was working or looking for a reference image for the comic, I was just sitting talking and not showing anything, and I think more could be achieved if I, allowed you guys to see stuff. So that's why I've added it. Neat camera. Yeah, it looks good. It's pretty low res, and I'll probably upgrade it in the future if the reference book stuff is popular enough. But I like it. Like, I like it a lot. And it gives you guys an opportunity to see my hands. And that's about it. Who would have thought a film student would add a camera? Yeah, good point. Very good point. Yeah, I think it's a necessary addition, right? And I added like the lighting and all that stuff specifically because I need, want to make it look right and have the right composition and yada 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 film stuff. Yada 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 film garbage. That's not how hair works. There we go. How's this? We'll see how this looks. I don't mind if it ends up not. Yeah, it's faff. It's garbage. It's not needed. Not garbage, sorry. Not needed. In my, practice versions, I have these things in a hair. Don't know how I feel about it, though. That looks a bit too phallic. Which is what I do for, the bushes and stuff. And because she's got quite bushy hair and stuff, it kind of works, but I don't know. Look at it and see. Nah, I hate it. I'm not a fan. I'll just add highlights and stuff. When appropriate. When appropriate, Mr. Potter. That. But garbage is vague, is it not? Someone always needs something, and that can be your garbage? I mean, I guess so. Do you ever imagine printing your comic? I'm not sure if I asked this before. I have gotten this question before. I don't think you've asked it necessarily. I do plan on printing it, kind of like Suited did, but it'll be not it won't be a limited run. I will get it published, essentially. That's my plan. I do plan on publishing it essentially. And so then it'll be available for anyone. But yeah, it is on the cards. I am planning on that eventually. Because I just think that would be so cool. And I've printed the pages and stuff. And I keep them at work. And they do look good printed, so I actually am really excited to print them. Late as usual, Mr. Potter. P.S. I love you, Alan Rickman. Rip. Yeah, Alan Rickman was fantastic. Ooh, publishing means you'll need to find a publisher. Yeah, probably. I mean, yes. Not probably, absolutely. Which is also very exciting. And right now, since there are only 2 chapters available, I'm not considering it or not thinking about it, but one day it will happen. Which is all very exciting, but then also very daunting as well. The idea that I'll have to be responsible and there will be someone else who is responsible for making sure my comic is released to people and stuff like that, which is a little scary, but also, you know, a part of this process as well. Mouse question about Dishonored. Isn't it that while Emily and Corvo are objectively good, they are more so fighting to get justice, vengeance, rather than get rid of bad people because they're evil? So that's a really good question. That's fine if it's that, but I just thought of that yesterday. I don't think so. It's a really good question, first of all. But I don't think they're actually seeking revenge. More so that they are seeking to regain that honor. As is, you know, customary for the title, Dishonored. I think it's more so about fighting to restore their place in the world as well. I don't think it's revenge, because you don't necessarily, you know, some of the characters that you go after are only obstacles in your way to get back to where you were. And they actually weren't involved in overthrowing you. You know, such as with Dishonored 2, characters like the High Overseer and Paolo are characters who are, you know, morally pretty bad. However, they actually had nothing to do with you you being overthrown. Spoilers for Dishonored 2. But it's one of those things, like, they're kind of just in the way of you getting back to where you were. More so than them being involved in the coup against you. I think Dowd in Dishonored 1, definitely there is an element of revenge there. And I definitely think Dishonored 1 is maybe a different story, because there is definitely elements of revenge there. Yeah, regain that honor to... Oh, Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. I just hovered over the, like, tab, and it scared me. Like, everything disappeared for a second. Yeah, regain the honor and cleanse themselves as not guilty, rather than, oh, you're evil, so I have to get rid of you. Yeah, that's at the very least, that's what I think. But I think you do have a good point in that very likely, though, there is an element of revenge in a lot of it, especially the first Dishonored, where you're going after people almost viciously because they wronged Jessamine. Not even Corvo, but Jessamine. Which I find very interesting. And for like a lot of the early Dishonored lore, Corvo is essentially a dog that is pointed in a direction and told to do something. You know, so you also get this sense that maybe nothing he does is for himself for a lot of the first Dishonored. That's what I thought of. Listen, guy, if you don't give me what I want, I'll literally have rats eat you and then make your body disappear as if you were never born. So give me what I want because I don't want to kill you. Yeah, essentially. I'm trying to think. Dishonored 1. Lady Boyle is the only one. Yeah, so Lady Boyle had nothing to do with the coup. She was just the Lord Regent's mistress. However, she's also the only one who knows how to get to the Lord Regent. So, in essence, she is in your way. And so, as a result, you do have to go after her for that. However, it's not like there's not necessarily any revenge involved in Lady Boyle's assassination if you choose to assassinate her. The fact that you find out that the torturer's not there. My brain always confuses the Lord Regent's estate with the Boyle estate, and the torturer is at the Lord Regent's estate. And my brain's always like, the torturer is at the Boyle party. He's not. Right, it just so happens that the same people who killed Jessamine in Dishonored, but you and then also captured Emily, but your targets also just happened to be very bad. Yeah. It's because, yeah, it's very interesting. Like, the Dishonored world is very interesting because I also wouldn't, when you said objectively, um, Corvo and Emily are good, it's an interesting statement, isn't it? Because on one hand, yeah, they're the protagonists. On another hand, sort of no. It's one of the things. It's like that they always mean well. So both Jessamine and Emily both mean well in their respective stories. However, highlighted over both of their like downfalls or overthrowing is the lack of not competence, but the lack of responsibility over it. In that Jessamine couldn't manage the rat plague and then was thusly assassinated and overthrown by people who were looking to gain power for themselves, so greedy individuals who are objectively bad. However, her negligence of the people led the people to accept this change. And then with Emily, her inaction and failure to act over the crown killer led to people distrusting her and then latching to the idea that the crown killer was Corvo or Emily as a way to silence her opposition, essentially. It's like when people are in your way and you refuse to move, but you have the literal power of God, but when they don't move out of the way, now you're sort of criticized for killing them, but that was the only way to get past them was to kill them, but then their side is like, you didn't have to kill them? Yeah. In a way, yeah. There you go, what a cute little nose. Oh, and I ruined it. Nah! It's fine. I can fix it. I think I can fix it. I can fix it. I can't fix it. I failed! Help me! No, it's fine. I can fix it. I can fix it. It's fine. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah. And that's why I like Dishonored so much, is that there's so much writing under the surface, is that really, honestly, Emily's not a very good ruler. She's trying her best, but she's young and inexperienced, and also deeply traumatized from her mother's assassination right in front of her. You know, there's a lot going on that makes her kind of hesitant to rule. Just seems like Corvo more so cares about justice for Jessamine and keeping Emily safe rather than corrupt nobles. Oh, absolutely. He does pretty much nothing for corrupt nobles until they threaten either Emily or Jessamine. Like, that is undoubtedly the truth, is that he does not do anything about corruption. I mean, also it's not his job to do anything about corruption. He's the royal protector. He's essentially just a bodyguard. But the only time he kind of gets the freedom to do what he believes is right is when his empress is either kidnapped, is either killed or turned to stone. Because he doesn't really need to protect them then, does he? Because they're either dead or stone. Cast in marble. As we see in Game of Thrones, a good king doesn't make a good man and vice versa, or that great people aren't good people. That, yes, they get stuff done, but oh shit, it's done by slaves. Okay, let's rethink that one. Yeah. So that's, in order for big changes to be made, there has to be sacrifices along the way, and sometimes that can be fucking grim. Can happen to be grim. As I have written in this comic. There will be sacrifices in this comic which will be grim. Because all good stories have that kind of thing, kind of that escalation of responsibility. What will make Ratchet a hero, you know? Or does he even want to be a hero? You know, in essence, when we think about it, is Ratchet actually looking to be a hero, or does he want to embrace being a thief? We don't know. I mean, I know, but you don't know. It's what the comic's about, finding out. I love the idea that I'm finding out as this stuff unfolds as well, along with you, as if I didn't write this story, and I don't know what's gonna happen. As if I don't know how this ends, and I'm just like, oh, anything could happen. I wonder what that grey mouse is thinking. I know what that grey mouse is thinking. That grey mouse is me. I know how this all ends. I know I'm going to be receiving angry letters. Maybe. I mean, probably. Let's be honest. People get angry about all sorts of things. In stories. In stories they didn't write, you know? I don't like that. I'll leave it. Yeah, I mean, he could just be a thief, but like a good thief. Obviously, I'm not the writer, but he could just steal from the worst people, but it's still stealing. Yeah, absolutely. You could steal with a code, and you're still a thief, essentially, and people are still gonna think you're a villain or a lamentable sort, you know, just because you are stealing. Because there are still going to be people who have that binary perspective on things like that. What is that grey mouse guy thinking? Yeah, we don't know. Well, what I'm thinking about now is that we've got about 4 minutes before we move on for the evening. People will get more mad at you when girlfriends type that legit essay about how you're wrong. People will be more mad than that. Yeah. I mean, I fully expect that to happen. People will have certain opinions about certain characters. People will have certain opinions about certain... Like, people will have ships and stuff like that for certain characters. And when they don't necessarily get what they want, then they'll get angry. I fully understand and expect stuff like that to happen. Before we raid Grey Mouse, before we try to raid Grey Mouse, we may accidentally end up in their raid to somebody else, which is fine. Because I'm sure we can trust whoever Grey Mouse ends up raiding. But yeah, like, I know there's going to be people who are going to be like, oh, this character should have ended up with this character. And one thing I also want to state now is that there are no relationships in this comic that matter. Necessarily. You know, I may need to explain that more precisely, but basically, there will be relationships in this comic. There will be characters who get together with other characters and things like that. It will have no impact on the story, so I'm not going to fixate on it. Essentially. I'm not going to focus on it. It's not going to be a thing that is important to the overarching story. Maybe some of it might be, but beyond that, it's going to be little aspects to it, but nothing more than that. I just added color a second time. Detail. I got 2 minutes. I got, well, technically 1 minute to add some details before we move on. I mean, we did some really good progress today, so I'm happy. Yeah, we better actually look to raid. Let's save and export this. I gotta go to bed so I can go to the gym tomorrow, and then go to work and make poops. in the toilet, as I said in a previous stream. Let me just set the light and stuff. Yep. Okay, cool, that's good. Export JPEG. Chapter 3, page 5. Not 100%, 50% detail. Don't want too much data, especially not for an unfinished page. Fans of you, write several pages about how you're wrong and stupid and more stupid and a bad writer. Me, yo, that's my troll town bodyguard right there. Look at him, he's a troll because I'm Mouse's troll. He's so muscular, and look at him, he's playing with these kids and he's a giant sword on his back for raiders. Yeah. People will focus on various different things, and that's okay. And some people will be mad, some people will have questions. It's fine. It's my story. I kind of will figure out what I figure out, and it will be what it is. And some people just kind of got to get used to that. I swear that'll be me. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you will be consistent. Alright, now who to raid? Oh. I'm gonna need to stretch after this. I definitely feel quite, like, rigid. Quite rigid, that's for sure. Oh, I've set it to 360p. I was, like, looking at my own stream. I'm like, why is that so low res? It's set to 360p. That'll be it. I love a crafty jellyfish, but I think we've raided her a lot recently. I might go to Galacticat. I think it'd be good to raid a streamer. An art streamer. Not just any streamer, sorry. An art streamer. Just ecstatic that story. Me is chilling with the kids as he eats full-sized chickens because I'm being a troll. Obviously, he can eat more than the equivalent to us just eating chicken. That makes sense, yeah. They need a higher volume of food to eat. I will say, so be prepared for that because that's next chapter. Next chapter, we introduce Timberstone, and your troll is in Timberstone. So chapter 4, I will be adding a lot of people's characters and character designs because Timberstone is a town. So it makes sense. There we go. Just getting ready to upload something and then we'll raid out. Just checking. Who to raid doesn't know about his absolute divine Rizness and the Riz god of Riz Lords. I know about him. I'm just posting today's progress up on the Discord, getting the link, and then getting ready to raid. I know who to raid. We're gonna raid Galacticat. So by next time, do you mean next stream or a stream after the next one? I mean next chapter, sorry. I meant to say next chapter, so that might be in a few months' time. But it'll be the next chapter up after this one. It won't be the next stream. It definitely won't be the next stream. We have... So this chapter is the first large chapter. So I'm not doing 10-page chapters anymore. I will be doing at least 20-page chapters. Just raid Greymass one time. Okay, I'll raid Greymass. I'm raiding Greymass. Hold on. Let me set that up. But yeah, so the next chapter will be likely the second half of the year. Depending on how quickly I do this chapter, but we'll have to see. There's a fight scene in this one, and that's going to be highly involved. So we'll figure it out. Though that being said, we have met Armella, and so it should start to speed up and pick up pace now. Nice to see you too. Now let's actually get this raid moving. Alright, raiding Greymass. thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate your presence and your time. Go be the rainbow in somebody else's day, because holy crap, you've done more than enough here. I will see you all next time. Bye.